All right, let's get right into it. If you're leading anything today, a team, a project, a whole company, you know you can feel it. The old rulebooks just don't cut it anymore. So today, we're going to break down a really powerful framework that helps the very best leaders not just get by, but actually thrive in this, let's face it, chaotic world. It's all about something called dynamic capabilities. So let's start with this. For a long, long time, we pictured business strategy like a game of chess. Deliberate moves, predictable rules, a clear board where you could see everything. Well, that world, it's gone. The competitive landscape today is way more like mixed martial arts. The rules are few, they're constantly changing, and your opponent might pull a move you've never even seen before. It's less about having the perfect plan and all about agility, adaptation, and improvisation on the fly. And the reason for this big shift is what a lot of experts call deep uncertainty. This isn't just about risk. See, risk is something you can calculate, right? Deep uncertainty is a world of unknown unknowns. Think about it. Global pandemics, sudden supply chain collapses, a brand new technology that comes out of nowhere. You literally can't put a probability on these things ahead of time. The military actually has a perfect acronym for this kind of environment: VUCA. It stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And look, this isn't just some corporate buzzword. It is the daily reality for every single leader out there. It's like trying to navigate through the fog of war, except your battlefield is the marketplace. And the data, well, it backs this up completely. Being on top is more precarious than it has ever been. Just look at this chart. It shows that the chance of a top-performing company staying a top performer is getting smaller and smaller over time. Leadership is fragile. It proves that whatever strategy made you successful probably won't keep you successful. The old advantages just don't last. So, if the old way is broken, what's the new way? Well, it all starts with a really crucial shift in your mindset. It's about understanding that there are two fundamentally different kinds of capabilities your organization needs to have. On one hand, you've got what we call ordinary capabilities. This is all about doing things right. Think operational efficiency, adopting best practices, optimizing what you already do. And look, you need this stuff. It's the cost of entry. But on the other, more important side, you have dynamic capabilities. This is about doing the right things. It's about effectiveness, entrepreneurship, and innovation. I mean, you could be the most efficient company on earth at making horse-drawn buggies, but you're still going to go out of business. And this isn't some radical new idea. The legendary management guru Peter Drucker absolutely nailed it decades ago. He said, the biggest threat isn't the chaos itself. It's trying to deal with that chaos using the logic that worked in the past. It's a recipe for disaster. Now, when you rely only on those ordinary capabilities, you get trapped in something called the Red Queen effect. It's from Alice in Wonderland. Everybody copies the same best practices. Everyone is optimizing for efficiency, and pretty soon you're all just running faster and faster and faster just to stay in the exact same place. You feel busy, but you're not actually getting ahead. Okay, so that's the problem. How do we break out of that trap? As a leader, how do you actually build these dynamic capabilities? Let's get practical and move to the action framework. First, let's just get the formal definition on the table. A dynamic capability is your organization's ability to purposefully integrate, build, and reconfigure its resources, both inside and outside the company, to keep up with a rapidly changing world. A better way to think about it is this. It's your ability to make your company a living, breathing organism that constantly adapts. And the framework for doing this boils down to 3 core activities. 3 things you as a leader have to champion: sensing, seizing, and transforming. Just think of it like a continuous loop. You see what's coming, you act on it decisively, and then you renew the organization so you can do it all over again. Sensing, seizing, transforming.
So let's start with sensing. This is all about being the antenna for your company. It's about trying to see around corners. Now, this is not about predicting the future with a crystal ball. It's about exploring possibilities. You do this through things like scenario planning, really investing in R&D, learning how to listen to those faint signals from the market, and tapping into the ideas that your customers are giving you every single day.
But of course, sensing an opportunity is totally useless if you don't act on it. That brings us to seizing. This is all about execution. Once you've sensed something big, you have to be able to mobilize your resources, design the right business model around it, and make the bold investments needed to capture that value. This is where insight has to turn into real, decisive action.
And if you want a perfect cautionary tale of what happens when you fail to seize, just look at Xerox PARC. Back in the 70s, their scientists and researchers basically invented the modern personal computer. We're talking the mouse, graphical user interfaces, the whole shebang. Their sensing was an A+, world class. But Xerox leadership, they just didn't see it. They failed to seize the opportunity. They didn't execute, and all that brilliant technology ended up walking out the door to companies like Apple. It's a historic failure of seizing.
So after you sense and seize, you get to the third and, frankly, the hardest part, transforming. This is incredibly difficult, especially for companies that are already successful. Why? Because your past successes create what are called core rigidities. These are the processes, the rules, the cultural habits that once made you great, but now they hold you back from changing. Transformation is about fighting that inertia, reconfiguring your assets, and truly renewing the organization's DNA.
Now, I want to be clear, this isn't just some abstract academic theory. This is exactly how the world's most effective CEOs think and operate every single day. Let's just listen to what they have to say.
Here's Jeff Bezos from Amazon, and he just perfectly captures what it means to operate in that world of deep uncertainty. He's saying the biggest, most important decisions, like launching AWS or creating the Kindle, you can't just solve them with a spreadsheet. They take judgment, they take intuition, they take a leap of faith. It's art and science.
And I love this one from Tim Cook at Apple because it highlights a crucial point. You can't just buy dynamic capabilities. You can't just hire a consulting firm to come install them for you. It's an organic, cultural thing that you have to patiently, painstakingly build inside your organization over years, even decades. Reed Hastings from Netflix points to the huge cultural shift that's required. You have to move away from the mindset of perfect, rigid optimization, which he calls the orchestra, right? Everyone playing the exact same notes perfectly. And instead, you have to embrace a certain amount of managed chaos to spark innovation. He calls it jazz. There's a structure, sure, but there's also a ton of room for improvisation and creativity. And this quote from Indra Nooyi, the former CEO of PepsiCo, just perfectly sums up the fundamental choice that every leader faces. She says she could have taken the easy path, focusing on ordinary capabilities, just cutting costs to juice profits for a few years. But instead, she chose the dynamic path, investing in building the long-term muscles and capabilities that PepsiCo would need to win in the future.
Which brings us to the ultimate point here. When you really adopt this mindset, you start to realize you're not just managing for the next quarterly earnings report. You're playing a much bigger, much longer game.
And this is maybe the biggest takeaway of all. Your primary goal actually shifts away from simple profit maximization to something much deeper. Evolutionary fitness. It's about building an organization that is so aware, so adaptable, and so agile that it can survive and thrive no matter what the future throws at it. And here's the thing. If you achieve that kind of evolutionary fitness, strong, sustainable profits will follow. They become the outcome, not the sole objective. And so that leaves us with one final question for you, as a leader, to really think about. Take a hard, honest look at where your time, your energy, and your money are really going. Are you just fine-tuning the machine for today's performance? Or are you actively, intentionally building your organization's fitness to win tomorrow? Because really, the answer to that question will determine your future.